We're hearing the NHL schedule could be released sometime today, and we have our list of teams that we would like to see in the home opener at the Fortress.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from... Chris got a haircut, man. Holy smokes.
All of them. I got them all cut. All of them.
Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. That's why I keep the hat on. Find us wherever you get your
I got
podcast.
the haircut, so I don't got to wear the hat.
And, of course, you could find us on the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. Subscribe there. And, of course, we are on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G. We are brought to you by the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. So, Chris, VGK's schedule should be released with the rest of the league as early as today before tomorrow's NHL draft. Gotta love the NHL. They don't even tell you when this is coming. It's all based on a lot of reports from a lot of journalists all over.
They have a lower body injury.
Okay, for future considerations. The Stanley Cup champions will have their ring ceremony. They will have the Stanley Cup banner unveiling there on opening night. It's a big night, right? So if you had your pick, who should VGK be playing on opening night of the 2023-24 season at T-Mobile? Let's each get a couple or three picks each, and we could talk about who we'd like to see at this big night with all of those ceremonies where the home team typically loses. No, go ahead.
You know, it's funny you say that. I have said that for the longest time on banner raising night. The home team always is so distracted, and it's such a good betting angle. I don't have any stats to back it up, but like I remember when I was betting more frequently than I am now, literally I would target a banner raising night and just fire. I don't care what the odds were. I would just fire on the other side. It was great. Edmonton, I think, would be a good start. It would make for some good TV. Obviously, that was the most intense of the four playoff series that the Golden Knights played. And, I mean, you know, the Golden Knights and the Sharks got their little thing still happening. So it'd be kind of fun maybe to just wipe it in the noses of the Sharks a little bit, you know, because they're obviously a long way away from this. As far as like a third team, I mean, maybe the Avs might be kind of cool just because, you know, the last two Stanley Cup winners, that would get some attention. The Avs in the middle of a retool to hopefully contend for the West and the Cup next season as well.
My three, Colorado was number one. Again, I think that they're the team to beat now, the 2024 Cup favorite. Plus, you have, of course, that angle. I wrote down the same thing. Past two Stanley Cup champions, you set the stage for the season. The way that the schedule went for, of course, Vegas last year, they will probably be meeting a cellar dweller to start things off. They're going to send in maybe the Washington Generals or someone like that they could just beat up. The Blackhawks, I thought, would be kind of cool. Debut Vegas.
That would be really cool, actually.
Connor Bedard.
But that was last season, though. Are they thinking they're going to do it the same year, though? I don't know.
Yeah, very, very much could be. It would never happen. I would like to also see the Oilers. That was my number one pick. But they would both beat the snot out of each other, and we probably won't see a game two at home after that because they'll both be beat down.
You can't start the playoffs in the regular season.
Right. The NFL and the NBA would have that marquee matchup, right? They would set it up like that. But here, yeah, I think it's going to be a bottom feeder, or it's going to be the same old Kraken, the Yotes, or the Canucks.
Who we open with? So it's with the Blackhawks, the Kraken, Coyotes, season 1. Season 2 was the Flyers. Why I remember that, I don't know. I can't remember season 3 and 4 offhand. It's definitely going to be someone that draws. I don't think they're going to put the Yotes on national TV for that game. I think they're going to want as big of an audience, and using a Canadian team in the West might make sense just to kind of get that interest as well. And I mean, let's face it, Edmonton, cool, Calgary, and Vancouver. There's not a whole lot of interest there. So if it's going to be
Montreal.
I'm thinking it stays in the West though. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Although you got Nick Suzuki, you got some former Golden Knights ties there, which can make it fun. But if it's going to be Canada, it's going to be Edmonton. If it's going to be in the States, if it's going to be in the West, it's going to be Colorado. And if it's going to be in the division, I think it's got to be San Jose, as much as I hate that. I mean, listen, Vegas, LA could be a lot of fun too. The NHL could just take the angle of, hey, we're going to dominate the West Coast. Let's put Vegas and the Kings out there, or Vegas and the Kraken out there, which obviously will get a little more national notoriety than maybe the Kings would. Either way, it's going to be fun. And I'm curious if the NHL, sends a message or something like that by, considering the team they do match it up against, just to mess with them a little bit. I don't know. You never know what the NHL's up to these days.
So last year, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that there was just 8 national television appearances for VGK. Pretty much as far as the national landscape got screwed a bunch. But about this schedule, we know VGK will not be home during Formula One, November 17th and 19th, because they have a basketball tournament, college hoops. The Vegas main event will be there, and probably not at home during the Super Bowl, as that venue will be rented out. And so those are 2. Will that also be around, could it be around All-Star time, do you think? Maybe it could be.
You're saying the NHL All-Star game the same time as the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it could be. That could definitely be.
I think it'll be a week apart, because otherwise,
a week apart.
Yeah, I think that might fall like when they do the Pro Bowl and all that. Just shooting at the hip right now.
Okay, this schedule, Chris, will be legit if and only a couple of variables happen. Okay?
I know you're going to take one of mine right now. Go ahead. You're taking one of mine right now. You snot. Go ahead.
Okay, VGK has to have 12 or more back-to-backs. 12 or more.
That's not my snot. Okay, you can have that.
Okay. Last year they had 8, the league low. Colorado, when they came off of their cup title last season, 13 back-to-backs, and they went 19-5-2. But they better legitimize this by making sure that VGK plays that kind of square. Everything fell into place. Every single piece and part fell into place this past season. I don't want to go Riggsville again.
You just did. I got an article coming out today. The Golden Knights don't win the Stanley Cup if blank doesn't happen, and luck was the number 5 answer on the board. So I was with you on the luck side, Tony. Everything had to fall into place. So
preview, because it'll be out later. So what was number 1? Go ahead.
Number 1, McCrimmon. Number 2, Cassidy. And then I talked about the defense somewhere in there. I can't remember the other Aces.
Jackie Aces?
No. Nope.
Okay.
No, that was more McCrimmon, just kind of getting the core in place and stuff like that. I can't remember that right, but that'll be out literally by the time this actually airs. This will be out. It comes out 7 a.m. daily, local in Vegas, 10 a.m. national. So here we go. We had 24 giveaways. I'm sure you're not beating the Arizona Coyotes in January with 24 giveaways. So the NHL, you got to get the Coyotes somewhere in Vegas. You have to have a home and home in January. Vegas and Arizona in January. It has to be in January, so we can have some fun with that one, and the media can play with that one, and someone can bring a sign, just stand in the glass during warmups. Don't give the puck away, and I'm sorry or whatever. That could be that would be fun. That could be kind of fun. As far as just trying to think of some other like fun moments, obviously it's cool when the teams from the East come, and we don't know when that's going to happen, obviously, but it's always fun when the teams from the East come for their one stop and stuff like that. That makes for some good opportunities and stuff to see the road fans travel. Although Foley states that there's not too many road fans that come to T-Mobile Arena. I'm still stewing over that one a little bit, Tony. I'm not buying that comment.
Yeah, I'm not buying his comment about the salary cap and that they have things figured out. I
think they got that figured out, but they're gonna spend a little bit of money this week.
Yeah, VGK I think has to be on the road for some holidays if this is a legit schedule. I'm just sick and tired of this. You should have seen me. I was holding court last night at the Aces game with anyone who has
how'd that go? How'd that go?
It went great because everyone had a listen.
Tell Steve Carpillo.
They were all eating, of course, so I got a chance to just keep talking. It's the only way that I get the floor. Not legit. Okay, if they're home for Christmas again, okay, if they're home for New Year's again, and especially it's not legit if they are home for Valentine's Day. I've had enough of this noise. I seriously have had just enough of them being coddled by the NHL. And oh no, Foley's not involved in the schedule making. Yeah, right. Okay.
Folks, it's June 27th. We just had the NHL Awards where Vegas had no nominees. It's the eve of the draft. There's like nothing crazy happening. We're still waiting for the official Aiden Hill announcements. There was, a trade amongst Boston and Chicago yesterday. Okay, fine, cool, whatever. A couple small things happened over the weekend. This is what happens, a week and a half after your team wins the Stanley Cup. You got to deal with Tony moaning about the schedule and the team not being home for the major holidays, including Valentine's Day.
If I threw in Valentine's Day, TMZ just hit me up. So maybe tomorrow.
Whatever will we do this time?
I don't know. I got to find some hot topics, man. We'll discuss some of those tomorrow, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Coming up next, VGK's assistant coach, Ryan Craig, who we don't even know can talk because we've never heard from the guy. He's been with the club since day one, and now he's promoted to the position of head coach of the AHL Henderson Silver Knights. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful, not as stressful as this show. Gametime, the easiest way to find tickets for any event going on in your area. They've got killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, so you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you are going to have. We did have one of our friends out there who bought tickets for soccer here and got to hear a lot of crazy words from the Mexican fans. And then just make sure that you browse through the Gametime app, and you could definitely have a lot of fun because we do this regularly. Myself and Chris have both utilized it. You get flash deals, last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every event. And then you get some images of where your seat is going to be. So Gametime is a place for last-minute ticket deals. So please forget about planning months in advance. Be like us. Do it the last minute. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, then Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. It is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We are back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Thank you so much for doing that. Of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. And, of course, Fridays are What the Friday, WTF. So that's a pretty cool and fun way to spend your Fridays, especially. So, Chris, Ryan Craig named the head coach of the Silver Knights yesterday.
I love that. I love that, by the way. We keep going.
He replaces Manny Viveros. And so Craig has been through all three coaching regimes here with VGK, starting with the inaugural 2017 VGK season. Oh, man, this is like the casino business, right? Where you just kind of juice in your friends. I feel like Kelly McCrimmon has had his back. He told every coach from Gallant to DeBoer to Cassidy that they needed to retain Craig. I thought last season, he was a goner. And of course, Cassidy comes in. Oh, yeah. And then McCrimmon shows up at that presser. Oh, yeah. We're going to retain the guy. He's going to still be here. And double take.
They announced that really quickly. Before I could be totally wrong. I feel like they announced right when they were firing DeBoer that Gallant and that Craig and not Stevens. So who's the other the defensive coach? Either way, we don't know the guys, but Yeah, keep going.
We never see the guys. So anyway, of course, Craig played for 5 seasons for McCrimmon with the Brandon Wheat Kings. So they go way back. In any event, no, congratulations on the appointment. He's going to meet the media on Friday. It's going to be interesting to hear what his voice sounds like for the first time. But again, the VGK brass kept assistants off limits, as we know. And this is an organization that now has to start to really begin developing players of the future for this club.
So, Craig knows Cassidy's system. I think that's the most important thing.
He knows the Boris system. He knows Gallant's system.
True. And then that's also fair. But you just always felt like whenever, and it wasn't often, but when the Silver Knights were brought up in conversation, it was, we just kind of trust what the coaches say. We just kind of listen down there. Like, they don't make it seem like there was this just, it was not really a plug and play, just whatever they say, let's go. And now there's going to be a little more synergy between the two franchises. And Ryan Craig, it's cool because, like you said, he's a day one VGK. He just went right to coaching at a very high level from getting out of the American Hockey League. Oddly enough, he won the AHL Calder Cup his final year, where he was actually the captain, which is kind of cool. And then boom, now you're an assistant coach. It's interesting how, some coaches work their way up through the ranks from juniors to college, and then they have some backroom jobs until they can actually, get on the NHL bench. And Craig got right there. And obviously the connections to McCrimmon. And I mean, it has to have worked, right? McCrimmon's kept him all this time. Maybe it's a good old boys thing. Who knows? But the fact that Ryan Craig is now getting, an AHL bench all to himself, it's really good. And another nice thing, obviously, I spend a lot of time at the rinks and stuff around town. You'll see Ryan Craig on the ice at Lifeguard and City National with a high level of frequency coaching youth hockey. His kid, or I don't know if it's kid or kids, but definitely he has an older son that plays at a high level for one of the youth programs. And he's on the ice all the time, like on the eve of a Golden Knights game or when the team is home. So it's good to see him taking, those types of priorities and things like that, family first type of mentality, and, being involved from the grassroots. So I think it is a great move. I wonder if they're going to promote someone from the AHL bench up to the NHL bench now. Joel Ward, I think, is the offensive coach in Henderson. So I'm going to put unless there hasn't been an announcement yet, but I'm going to put a write-in vote possibly for Joel Ward to climb up to the AHL bench. And it's a great way to see him promoting from within and, developing from within. That's great.
So Elon Musk has accepted George's St. Pierre's, his training offer in the fight against Zuckerberg. So I think that would be a very interesting topic there. I'm taking Zuckerberg minus
June 27th, folks. June 27th. We got nothing to talk about.
No, so when you're talking about HSK, well, first of all, Cassidy has to spend a little bit of time around the AHL team and kind of know who the other guy is and the other guy. And
now he knows, at least by
default. He says he just went on recommendations, which he checked them out, I'm sure, some, but what have you.
Maybe.
What else has to happen for the Silver Knights to be successful? And it's that delicate balance of having to win, but then also developing players and then having your players ready to step up to the NHL level when needed.
Jake Lecision, Keaton Korczak, Miramanov, Pahal, Dorofeyev, Yuri Patera, Brossois, Aiden Hill.
Not Brossois. Brisson? No,
Brossois. I'm talking players that have that strictly had some time at the AHL level and went through Henderson. That was my angle right there. And all of that has to work out. Those players have to either develop or go through their rehab stints and stuff like that to be able to contribute at the NHL level. So if your NHL team wins the Stanley Cup or, goes on a deep run, you don't do that without your AHL team contributing. So that's the first measure of success. How good did the AHL team do? Well, they won the Stanley Cup. So the AHL team automatically gets some level of credit there. Now, to go a step deeper, you look around the NHL and AHL and you look at teams who had success at both levels. Obviously, Golden Knights won the cup. The AHL Silver Knights were one of the 7 of 33 or 34 teams that did not even qualify for the postseason. First team that comes to mind, the Seattle Kraken. They went out in the conference semifinal, so they made it to the top 8 in the NHL, if we're going to make it easy. Whereas the Coachella Valley Firebirds, they were the runner-up in the Calder Cup final.
Yeah.
On the other side,
the first year, that was year one.
That was year one. Yep.
You were right.
I'll take it. On the other side, the Hershey Bears win the Calder Cup. That's the Washington Capitals farm team. And the Caps really didn't get too close to the playoffs. And I'm sure we can go a little bit deeper to see how the NHL and AHL team did. Oddly enough, and this is not necessarily an apples to apples scenario, but the Golden Knights season 1, of course, they are the runner-up in the Stanley Cup final. And I believe it was either season 2 where the Chicago Wolves, which were the Golden Knights affiliate, they finished second as well in the Calder Cup. So that was kind of cool to see both franchises doing well. God, even going a bit deeper, I feel like Haig and Kolasar may have even been on that team for that run.
Okay, I just felt that the Silver Knights. I felt that the Silver Knights would win a cup before the Golden Knights. Actually, the way that they were headed, I thought they had this is the best roster we've ever seen.
That roster, I mean, listen, honestly, Tony, I did like that roster going into it. And Golden Knights had injuries, Silver Knights had injuries, and I'm curious how it's all going to shake out this year. And now we're starting to get a look at this is just more growth of the organization right now. I really do believe this is going to be a good move to have the players ready to jump in a pinch to help out the Golden Knights. With Vivros, I love Vivros. Like, he's very passionate, extremely caring of this team. I sat in a couple of his press conferences at probably the team's lowest point early in the season. It was actually Brossois. I always say his name wrong. Loren. Say it like that.
Just say Brossois.
Just say Brossois. Okay, Brossois. That got out there.
Or Larry.
W and BC. Okay, sorry. Howard Stern movie.
Yeah. I lived that. Are you kidding me? In New York City. Okay.
Yeah. We can't quote that moment, but yeah.
The other coach that you're speaking about was Misha Donskov, right?
Yep.
Okay. Coming up next, the NHL Awards were held last night. What a yawner. Oh my goodness. I couldn't get through it. Sorry. And one VGK player more or less stole the show. We'll talk about that when we return here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick.
We need an ad read there, Tony. This show it's kind of just going. We needed like a 2-minute ad read right there. We got to talk about this for like 6 minutes now. This is going to be tough, but go ahead.
No. But aren't you doing didn't you do an NHL draft preview?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So where can we find that?
Locked On somewhere put that up. Honestly, I didn't. That wasn't my folks. I'm going to be completely honest with you. That wasn't my best efforts. We go 32. Obviously, joys of winning the Stanley Cup, and I kind of looked at the people above who the other Locked On hosts took, and I went a little deeper in the projections just to make sure I didn't double down on somebody else. But I did land on Andrew Gibson, and what I remember about him was kind of the parallels. I'm Googling the guy right now.
This is not our draft preview show. That's tomorrow.
Why did you ask me about him?
I don't know. I was trying to promo where to find you.
Okay, we have a draft preview show. Andrew Gibson. I'll Google him tomorrow. I'll tell you more about him.
And we'll find out who he is. Okay, so I watched some of the stinking NHL awards last night.
There he is. Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
Nice. But from what I saw, the only VGK player with hardware was Zach Whitecloud.
That was good.
Who walked on the red carpet. He showed up, and
let me put this right here.
So did they do something there? Where who else was there?
I have no idea. I didn't watch it. I can't sugarcoat this. The only thing
is bad. And the performance. Okay, folks, I'm going to get you going here because they should have last night. Did they announce that the NHL draft will be in Vegas next year, or they're waiting till the NHL draft? Okay, so
is that a thing? I actually didn't know. Is that
the draft is supposed to be coming here to Las Vegas, and then of course we'll have the NHL awards. To the forefathers and foremothers and whoever, we need to do a better job than Nashville. Okay, We need to get this thing going. I went to the
It was
NHL
good.
Awards.
The draft was good in Nashville a couple of years
Right.
ago. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. It's going to be great here, of course, in 2024. I went to the first NHL Awards at the Palms, and literally there were people snoozing off. It was so bad. It might have been the worst award show I have ever seen.
I did the 2015 or 20. It was your 15 or 16. I got
The Hard Rock. Did you go to?
No.
Hard Rock
It was at MGM. It was at the Garden.
Oh, okay.
So here we go. I got a fluffer story here. We had little brag. We had backstage passes and stuff. So free drinks, free everything, chilling with all the players and stuff like that. I got hooked up by a friend for that. And I'm sitting literally on the side of the stage. I was not sitting. I'm standing up. I got a drink in my hand. I had a couple drinks at this point already. And I see a very well-dressed gentleman just literally walk about 2 or 3 feet from me. And he's kind of doing the same thing. Got a drink in his hand watching. I look over. It's Henrik Lundqvist, New York Rangers goalie. Obviously, if there's an award for best dressed in the NHL, he walks away with that. He's still the best dressed player around the NHL. So I just look at him very, very, casually. Say, hey, good to see you. I said, you got to be one of the best dressed people in all of sports. A compliment. Like, it wasn't a drunken fan comment. It was just, very polite. And he looks at me. He's like, oh, no, you got me mixed up. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I know who you are. And I'm giving you a compliment. He's like, no, that's not me. And I looked at him. I said, dude, you don't got to be a word that rhymes with ick. And I walked away. Like, I just called him a blank right to his face. Yeah.
Really?
So it's just dumb.
Everyone loves the guy. Come on.
I do too. And people I tell that story to, they think it wasn't him either. But I got a good eye for this sort of thing. But and that event was cool. I did sneak a picture backstage with the Stanley Cup like 5 minutes before Jonathan Taves carried it out with Rob Riggle and stuff like that, the host. And that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. But Henrik Lundqvist, I don't know what was up with you, man. I know you watch the show daily, so my DMs are open if you want to apologize.
Okay, so some VGK players did receive votes last night for individual honors.
Oh, really?
Bruce Cassidy finished 4th in the Jack Adams balloting.
Here's
a good one for you, though.
God, go ahead, McDavid. Go ahead.
No, we're going to get to him in a moment.
I got that up here.
Okay, so Alex Pietrangelo, 40 points for the Lady Bing Award, the slasher. He got a 40 votes.
Obviously, these are done during the regular season, folks, because he would have lost those.
The Lady Bing, though, that's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. Didn't William Karlsson win the Lady Bing year 1?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Man, that would drive you nuts.
It did. And he should have made some of the presentations last night. Logan Thompson finished 8th in the Calder voting. Patrice, speaking of your guy, William Karlsson, aka Bergeron Jr. Okay.
Bergeron West.
I've had enough of him. I've had enough of this comparison. Patrice Bergeron last night won his 6th, count them, 6 Selke Awards. He's won 6 of them. Okay? There's no comparison, folks. Quit it. Just quit it.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I mean,
Tuesday.
It's something to aspire to. There you go. It's something to aspire. What the Tuesday? Napkin Talk Tuesday.
Oh, and then, of course, okay, so with Connor McDavid.
Oh, my God.
Some Yahoo gave him a 5th place vote in the Hart voting. And myself and Steve Karp did some investigative reporting.
Oh, did you figure out how to do that? Tell me you figured it out.
We looked on Twitter. That's about it.
Okay.
And so Joe Yerdon, who writes for, is it Bleacher Report?
I don't know. I fear it's got to be something in Boston or that area.
No. He's from Buffalo. So we pointed towards him, and I hope it's him, because I kind of outed him last night. Yeah, Bleacher Report contributor.
Idiot.
And he I think he took down a tweet where he owned it. What kind of...
He took the tweet down?
Stupid. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. He's no Cardasco or Golick. He just wasn't man enough to keep it up.
I mean, so I got called the imbecile of the day by some random bowling podcast, which is actually pretty funny. That's definitely the imbecile of the year for not only like if there's one person that really wants to bang the drum for McDavid not to, get the MVP award, fine. But then when you put Pasta up there and he gave McDavid not a 2nd, not a 3rd, not a 4th, it was a 5th place votes. So this idiot, this clown, this imbecile, I got 3 adjectives in there in a row, somehow thinks McDavid, like, obviously this is to prove a point. There's a reason that this clown did this, and I don't understand why.
Attention. Come on.
Okay, fine, but is this the attention you really want? I mean, I know stirring the pot. I know, how Stephen A. Jackson gets a good chunk of his ratings, but is this really the marker you want to draw in the sand to get your attention? Is this really the megaphone you want to throw up to the world? Like, I don't understand that, but I mean, good for him. He got the 800,000 or so people are going to click on this show. Now they know who this schmuck is, and good for you, buddy.
I hope
Good
it's
for
him.
you.
It
Good
better
for
be
you.
him, or we're looking stupid there.
Well, good for somebody then. This clown knows who he is. He's probably laughing right now at us. A lot of people do, but whatever.
Mark Stone also got 11 votes for the Selke. One of the cool moments last night was when they brought out in handing the award to Connor McDavid for the Hart Award, the Hart Trophy. They brought out Ben Stelter's family, the young man who passed away from cancer, and that was a cool story. Him and Connor really became close, and it was just a touching moment.
The NHL did something right,
many.
at least last night.
Yeah. So I turned it on, and they're sitting at a table too, and there's more stuff going on and sideshows and everything else that probably the fans in attendance couldn't see. And the first thing they show is Dr. Frank Saravelli sitting at a table eating barbecue as they're trying to talk to him. It was like, what is going on? We got to do better, Vegas. So next year, hopefully they make the announcement on Wednesday. NHL draft here next year, Wednesday or Thursday, they'll make that announcement. And then we'll have, of course, the NHL Awards here as well.
Hopefully Stanley Cup won't have to travel far to the award show next year.
Coming up, so VGK will have the 32nd pick in tomorrow's draft. Yeah, we'll get to some draft talk. It's not a big deal for Vegas anyway.
F those picks.
Of course. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We'll talk about the draft tomorrow, of course, on the show, and much more.
I'm taking tomorrow off.
We'll have a ton of news probably between then and now, and maybe a trade and Aiden Hill getting inked. Who knows?
Yeah, that's tuning in. Something weird is happening there. I think it's probably involves Leonard, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's a little leveraging going.
I think it's a Leonard. I think Leonard is the reason this thing hasn't been announced yet. I think they need to officially have
that snake
something.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in right here on Locked On Golden Knights.